Afternoon, everybody. Really appreciate you guys joining our next session. We've got a great presentation coming up. We've got Maya Robertson from University of Memphis joining us today. As always, please hold questions in the comments till the end. And we will also, at the conclusion, have a link for you guys to complete the session survey. But without further ado, I'll turn the mic over to Maya. But again, thank you all, and thank you to Maya. Glad to have you all here today.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my presentation. My name is Maya Robertson, and I am the Learning Specialist at the University of Memphis Center for Athletic Academic Centers. Just a little background about myself. I'm also a doctoral candidate for Grambling State University's Developmental and Higher Education Studies program as well. So a little bit of my presentation will have some dissertating terms because my dissertation focuses more on academic and social perceptions of student athletes and how they feel about learning services that we provide to them at both four-year institutions as well as community colleges. So some of my dissertation may be presented in this presentation as well. It is such an honor to welcome all of you today. That my presentation will focus on student success at athletic academic centers. This presentation, Always Persevering, Encouraging Student Success at Athletic Academic Centers, will provide an overview of what our center at the University of Memphis has found successful in terms of holistically supporting our student athletes and being collaborative, supportive, communicative with our colleagues as we all serve as a team in assisting student athletes. I, along with my colleagues, extend our deepest appreciation to the LSU Cox Communications Academic Center for Student Athletes for hosting the 2025 Student Support Summit, a vital gathering dedicated to fostering student athlete success. Under the theme, Go All In, creating holistic systems for academic, social, and emotional growth, this summit brings committed and dedicated individuals like ourselves to shaping comprehensive support structures that empower student athletes in every aspect of their journey. By all means, if you have any questions, I know that Mr. Jason's at the table at the end. I want this to be more conversational. So if anything, please stop me, or if you have any questions, we can stop in the middle of the presentation and discuss them. All right. So student success is at the heart of what drives athletic academic centers. They are more than resources. We are more than resources. We provide a space where it's more transformative for our student athletes, where dedication meets opportunities. We help them through challenges which turn into growth, and futures are shaped. Today, we'll explore the strategies, innovations, and partnerships that make this success possible. I encourage you to engage, question, and share your insights throughout the session. Thank you again for being here. And my presentation will focus more on the objectives, more on some of the best practices that I think in terms of screening assessments. I've been working on the project with my colleague who is also a learning specialist as well. And throughout the presentation, I'll get more into it about the screening assessments for potential learning disabilities of student athletes. So I'll just pinpoint more on the objectives of that actual screening assessment that I will show. Collegiate athletic academic centers are embracing innovative methods to foster holistic growth for student athletes. Academic support now goes beyond traditional tutoring and advising and incorporates personalized and individual learning plans through getting more details from learners, through designing digitalized assessments, renovating technology tools for time management coursework tracking, such as with the mentoring sessions that I have with the students on my caseload, I'm sure to be able to assist the student with navigating through any type of digital platforms that they have, such as Canvas, Macmillan Learning platforms, if they have any type of content on there, how to kind of become confident in navigating those type of technology platforms. On the social front, athletic academic centers, moreover student development, are pioneering community building initiatives such as peer mentorship programs, wellness seminars, and networking events that connect student athletes with alumni. Athletic academic centers also integrate mental health resources, including on-site counseling and stress management workshops to support the unique challenges student athletes face. And I feel like within my role, we kind of have versatile positions to serve. So when it comes to a situation where a student may not be feeling at their best during that mentoring session that day, or whenever they come into study hall, just to make sure that to be that support system for them in terms of helping them with their academics as well as with their social services also. This presentation will focus on various principal frameworks such as consistent academic monitoring, time management strategies, and independent learning skills, and explore how they can be applied to modern educational issues. Practical strategies highlighting learning assistance services designed to address the unique needs of student athletes include tailored support, which entails designing individualized academic plans, skill development that involves workshops and routine practices on time management. I'll probably be saying time management throughout the whole presentation because this is a vital skill that I've noticed that a lot of student athletes, as well as myself, should improve on in terms of being more organized, showing student athletes different type of approaches of being organized because they are trying to balance being not only just an athlete, but a student as well. Providing collaborative efforts, which includes encouraging active communication between academic advisors, coaches, and faculty, ensure a unified support system. Providing accessible resources, which offer flexible tutoring sessions, online learning tools, and designated quiet space for studying. Tracking progress by regularly monitoring academic progress, using performance benchmarks, and adjust support plans as needed throughout any semester because challenges, barriers may come up, but it's how you approach and how you persist on overcoming those type of academic and social barriers. The moral values of emerging academic support services include collegiate student athletes having, well, they do. They have unique campus relationship patterns and other defining characteristics, requiring a conceptual model that focuses on academic performance, college success, and social engagement. And this is a little bit of my dissertating talk, but I did find like a conceptual model to kind of implement in my everyday duties as a learning specialist to help student athletes, kind of focusing more on motivational factors to encourage them to complete their academics at the best of their ability and to be of service when they have any type of complications throughout their academics and being that outlet for them. Academic development begins with providing consistent academic assistance through tutorial services, like I stated, supplemental or video supplemental instruction, academic advising, schedule review sessions, and study skills seminars. And then the social development part, which is the career counseling, mentoring, language and speech therapy services, school psychological services, orientation programs, and student life organizations, if they have time for those. These services that we provide at Academic Support Service Centers strive to create equal opportunities for all student athletes, regardless of their background, athletic status, or academic abilities. Tailored programs address diverse learning styles and ensure that no athlete is left behind due to systemic barriers. recognizing the unique challenges student athletes face, such as balancing rigorous training schedules, academic demands, personal pressures. Academic centers embrace a culture of understanding and support. Support services uphold transparency and ethical practices, particularly when navigating complex NCAA regulations like NIL, transfer portal rules. They empower student athletes to make informed decisions that align with their personal values and academic goals. The practices that we have implemented in the center have been centralized in both student athletes and academic staff to take responsibility for their roles. For student athletes, this means committing to their academic and athletic goals. Athletic academic centers nurture resilience by helping student athletes develop the skills and confidence to overcome challenges, whether academic or personal. Empowerment is a core value as services aim to prepare athletes for success, not only during their collegiate careers, but also in their future endeavors. So some of the testing and assessments for academic needs are what I do in my role is provide um, uh, uh, or really just assess and help student athletes in their academic needs and how to thrive academically and athletically. Central to my responsibility is administering and interpreting various testing and assessments tools, such as screening for potential learning disabilities, evaluating learning preferences, identifying potential academic challenges. These assessments, screening assessments for learning disabilities, enable specialists to create tailored academic support plans. It'll include like any type of testing accommodations, skill building workshops, and like I stated, personalized study strategies to help them excel in their academics. By collaborating closely with athletic academic advisors, my colleagues, coaches, and disability resources for students, learning specialists ensure student athletes receive comprehensive support to navigate their unique challenges, promoting long-term academic and personal success. And I just have like a quick question, just a breather and more of a conversation. What are some screening assessments that your athletic academic center use to evaluate potential learning disabilities of student athletes? If anyone has answers. Okay. Some of the assessments that we use at the Center for Athletic Academic Centers is the online cumulative history survey. It assesses academic and medical history via athletics intake assessment. The learning survey, which is a self-reporting survey to assess the existence of ADD, ADHD symptoms. The learning preference survey, which is more so of a project that that our center have our students take to see what their learning style is. And what I have done is try to form the paper-based learning preference survey questionnaire into an online digitalized assessment so that my colleagues will be able to have a copy of the learning preference that students have, and that we as learning specialists, as well as academic mentors, tutors, have on the back end what we can prepare in advance for our student athletes to excel academically. So I'll go more into that, different types of steps through Qualtrics, which is a data analytic platform that provides like data as in terms of analyzing what type of learning preference, or help identify what type of learning preference that student athletes may have, or what they prefer in terms of uh, how to prepare for tests, how to attack any type of assignment, such as discussion forums or quizzes, any type of study skills that we can kind of uh, uh, create on the back end, see what type of learning that they are visually, either by audio or through kinesthetics. So that's something that I feel like when we have mentor sessions, we don't have students as much. So getting to know what their learning preferences on the background will help us be more prepared for any type of session that we may have for students. And like I said, we'll have those type of tools already ready for them, depending on what type of learning preference they have. We also provide writing samples to just kind of assess what writing ability students have. These are provided to all incoming freshmen and transfer students. The AccuPlacer administered to students with low English ACT scores for freshman English placement, and as well as the ALEX administered to assess students' current knowledge and readiness for college level courses, often for math and science requirements. And here's just like kind of the first step as to accessing the learning preference questionnaire. Yeah. Going to, and I'm just gonna give like just a little overview of what I've created so far. I do understand that it'll take a little bit of time to be able to get everything finalized in terms of completing the questionnaire. I feel like Qualtrics is an easy way to provide any type of data on and visuals and informationals in terms of how the student learns, what we can do to provide different types of learning resources for students. So I'm just in the building stage right now. So like I said, everything isn't finalized. The first section of the survey does focus on more of the to see if students are more visual learners. So some of the questions that's included in section one kind of is based on that type of learning preference. And then it's built in more of a Likert scale. Students would just say if they agree if this type of learning preference applies to them or not. The second section kind of deals with more of an auditory learner. So it's asking more questions, seeing if they're more into rather obtaining their academic material by recordings, like in lectures and things of that nature. And the third section kind of focuses more on kinesthetics, so more of experiential learning, seeing if students maybe be more hands-on with their learning preference. And I intend on having like different types of course, scholarly facts to summarize what each learning preference is. And that'll be for the student athlete, the athletic academic advisor, learning specialist, as well as anyone in the athletic academic center will have stored so that they can always go to this to be able to see what type of profile their student may have. It does take you through where I intend on, if through the distribution method, to do just a QR code. The student can simply just scan in orientation sessions and be able to just complete the questionnaire. We'll have documentation of it. And we can just go from there in terms of setting up any type of mentoring sessions. So I'll go back to the presentation. And this is kind of self-explanatory in terms of going into what each learner is and what preference. Here at the Center for Athletic Academic Services at the University of Memphis, during my mentoring sessions with students, I usually have them write down everything that's due each week. And we just kind of go through the contents of each assignment and what's required and how to complete those. I know with a lot of writing assignments, what I like to do is try to get all of the requirements and kind of make a note for that student, and they're able to take like the task list and whatever that we use in our mentoring sessions with them so that they have a clear visual as to what to complete for the week. So this focuses more on a visual learner. So that's why I just had the task list provided, because it's color coded. It provides like a more interactive, engaging material while we're in our mentoring sessions and things of that nature. And I already had spoke about the auditory learning among collegiate student athletes. This is more of if students have would prefer more of listening to their like any type of lectures or have any recordings that they have from lectures in class, and be able to just play that repetitively if that helps them to learn best. And lastly is the kinesthetic learner, which focuses more on hands-on experience, any type of tactile experiential learning. I feel like it helps with using flashcards for test preparation, things of that nature. So in terms of just administrating, and I want to just start more so on the learning preference to get some type of understanding as to what student athletes prefer in terms of learning. So that's the only screening assessment that I have focused on for this presentation. Everything else is pretty much digitalized, but I know that with keeping up with paperwork is big, but being able to have that efficiency and using digitalized assessments will help streamline the identification of learning disabilities to provide timely and personalized academic support for student athletes. Integrating technologies using platforms like Qualtrics or specialized academic schools to administer assessments help with efficiency. Incorporating digital questionnaires, just like the learning preference survey. Adaptive testing methods and software analysis helps evaluate cognitive and learning styles. And this type of digitalized platform will help with accessibility, reducing stigma, ensuring compliance, and enhancing academic planning. And it'll just provide more of kind of like an infographic element showing connections between assessment tools, data analytics, as well as personalized interventions, and putting that together so that we're well prepared in any type of session that we have for students to help them excel academically. That's the end of my presentation today. I thank you all for attending, and I was curious if you had any questions or any comments or feedback.
I have a question.
Amen.
So I'm an advisor. So, in what ways has the transfer portal reshaped the educational paths of the student athlete, and how can academic mentors, learning specialists, anybody who essentially touches the student athletes, ensure that the transfer students adapt to the effects of the new academic environments?
Yes, thank you, Meredith, for the question. I feel like since the initial meeting with students and being able to create that relationship where we're more engaged in their academics as well as knowing what's going on with athletics as well is vitally important. So being able to provide them with academic skills tailored towards their learning preference so that they could take away to whatever school that they may transfer to. I feel like providing any type of retainable information so that they can have and cherish with them. I know that with the academic, with the mentoring sessions that I have with students, I kind of try to figure out like what they are socially like. How do they learn? Like what type of challenges that they may have, and try to provide them with as much resource from the front end of our meetings so that they can have that to prepare for any type of institution that they may go to or transfer to. Just make sure that they have those academic skills to excel. Thank you for the question again.
Absolutely.
Any more questions or any type of feedback that anyone may have?
I have one last question. Obviously, in the NIL era, you have students who are focused more on making money, like, so how do you adjust and help with students who are, trying to take advantage of that aspect, but also making sure that their academics don't falter, if that makes sense?
Yes. As a former student athlete, I did track in cross country at Northwestern State University. But of course, like the collegiate athletics has changed in terms of like you spoke towards NIL transfer portals, things of that nature. But I feel like just having just a truthful conversation in terms of um, vitalizing how important academics are and how essential they are in terms of attaining your degree, especially if something may happen. You always want to make sure that you have different plans, different avenues in case something may happen athletically that prevents you from excelling in that area. As long as you can know and feel confident that you have education as well to get you into those doors. If you're interested in athletics still and you can still excel in any area, I try to, I motivate students each day to try to look at it from that point of view, weighing all your options and being versatile and knowing that you have many skills other than just focusing more on athletics, but then gaining more information from that too, because NIL, it kind of prepares you for being an employee. You have to know about financial literacy and things of that nature. So applying that and how you develop in your career, I feel like that having those types of conversations also helps student athletes kind of matriculate throughout their educational journey.
Hey Maya,
Hey, Fraser.
what have been some good skills or good techniques that you've used when you're working with students who might they're difficult to track down or don't like to show up on time, things like that.
Yes, thank you for your question. I try to, as you have told me, meet students where they are, especially if something like that happens in terms of there may be something that's life challenges that's preventing them. So kind of honing into what they're going through and seeing it from that point of view and that people make mistakes. Uh, during my matriculation through undergrad, it was complicated for me to balance both athletics and academics. So I would lean more towards my teammates if I needed help, or be able to speak to my advisors if I felt like I was getting into a situation where I was having complications in classes, and being more truthful with the people that's trying to assist. I feel like we're very open and transparent, at least I am, and trying to help students see the big picture of why education is so important. So if it's a circumstance where students miss or they're not doing assignments and things of that nature, I try to be an outlet to them and remind them as best as I can through um, uh, reaching out to advisors as yourself, seeing if they could come to study hall so that we can meet in person. If anything, we can meet virtually. I try to stay ahead of their work as well, going through any type of weekly task list that we make throughout at the beginning of the week in our daily meetings, and just trying to create a tentative schedule for them, and not trying to bother them, but bother them every day to get them to realize that, you have to do these assignments. And if anything, reach out to your professors, reach out to anybody that can help you, because I'm pretty sure everyone is cheering for their success. So I try to just preach that, embrace that to them, especially when I do get a chance to meet them again after they missed multiple sessions. But just have a real conversation with them and let them know that there's other avenues to go to get to where you want to go. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Well, I thank you all for attending my presentation. If anyone doesn't have any more questions or feedback, I appreciate you all taking the time out of your schedule. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of the semester as well as summer and beyond.